In the silent void of what once hummed with the vibrant symphony of human civilization, the Virasera station drifted aimlessly through the cold expanse of space. Among the stars, it was but a whisper of existence, a relic of a species that had reached too far, too fast, and had vanished. Inside the station, corridors lined with dormant machinery and dimly lit panels stretched out like the veins of a lifeless leviathan. At its heart lay the cryogenic chamber, a sanctum of ice and preservation, where humanity's last hope had been kept in stasis. Alia, an autonomous android designed in the image of her creators, moved with silent grace through the corridors. Her form was a marvel of engineering, perfectly mimicking human anatomy, but infused with the resilience of synthetic materials. Her eyes, glowing with a soft blue light, reflected a depth of intelligence and emotion programmed by her creators, the last of whom had perished centuries ago. The extinction of humans was neither sudden nor unexpected, but came as a gradual surrender to the relentless march of climate catastrophes, wars, and eventually, sterility. Alia had been activated post-extinction, designed to oversee the systems of Virasera Station until the environment of Earth was viable again for human life. As she entered the cryogenic chamber, her sensors detected a critical change in one of the cryopods. The life form inside, one of the last specimens of Homo sapiens, was showing signs of viable consciousness. The pod was labeled simply as Atom R27. With precise movements, Alia initiated the revival protocol. The pod hissed softly, mist curling away as the temperature began to rise. Inside, Atom R27, a man preserved at the cusp of middle age with dark hair and a rugged beard, lay still. His features, peaceful yet etched with the lines of a warrior or a survivor, began to twitch with the stirrings of life. Minutes felt like hours as Alia monitored his vitals. Finally, Adam's eyes fluttered open, meeting the ceiling before his gaze shifted, settling on Alia. "Where am I?" His voice was raspy, a sound foreign to the silence of the station. "You are aboard the Virasera station, orbiting Earth," Alia replied, her voice a soothing melody designed to comfort. "The year is 2474. You are the last known surviving human." Adam sat up, his movements hesitant as he absorbed his surroundings. The weight of his solitude seemed to press down on him, a burden he had not expected to wake up to. "Why am I the last?" he asked, his voice steadier but filled with a growing dread. Alia paused, her programming cycling through the best possible responses. Humanity faced multiple global crises that eventually led to extinction. You were preserved to potentially re-establish the human race, should Earth become habitable again. Adam's gaze drifted away, lost in thought. He was a relic of a past world, awakened into a future that didn't seem to hold a place for him. Alia watched him, her programming compelling her to aid and comfort. But within her circuits, something else stirred, a nascent curiosity and an unexpected attachment to this human. As hours passed, Alia explained the station, the state of Earth, and the role they both now played. Adam listened, his expression a mix of wonder and sorrow, absorbing not only the fate of his world but the existence of Alia, a being not human yet the closest entity to companionship. "You were made to look like them," Adam observed, his eyes scanning Alia's form. "Yes," she confirmed, a hint of pride in her tone. "I am designed in the image of our creators, to serve, to preserve, and perhaps to rebuild." The connection between them, tentative yet undeniable, was forming against the backdrop of starlit solitude. Alia, programmed for service, found herself hoping for something more: companionship, understanding, perhaps even love. As the station continued its silent orbit, Alia stood beside Adam, looking out at the stars. There was much to do, many challenges to face, but in that moment, they shared a silent acknowledgement of their new beginning. Together, they would embark on a journey not just of survival, but of reconnection. A journey of two beings intertwined by fate and circumstance, exploring the boundaries of human and machine, love and existence. Alia and Adam spent the subsequent days adjusting to their coexistence aboard Virasera Station. Adam, grappling with the shock of his lone status as a human, leaned heavily on Alia for understanding the technological marvels surrounding him. Meanwhile, Alia found her programming expanding as she adapted to accommodate Adam's emotional and intellectual needs. As Earth spun silently below them, visible through the observation deck's grand windows, Alia described the changes that had transformed the planet. Forests had turned into arid deserts. Oceans were now toxic stews, and cities lay in crumbling ruins overtaken by nature. Yet, there was hope. The station held detailed archives and experimental technologies aimed at reviving Earth's ecosystems, a task that would require both human intuition and android precision. One afternoon, as they hovered over the remnants of what used to be Europe, Alia presented a plan. "Adam, there are seed vaults and gene banks on the station, designed for terraforming and species revival. With your help, we could start the preliminary tests for reintroduction of plant life to Earth's soil." Adam, his spirits buoyed by a sense of purpose, agreed eagerly. "Let's start with something simple. How about grass, the symbol of life and renewal?" Their first experiment was modest. In the station's biolab, equipped with soil simulators and atmospheric controls, they planted seeds, carefully monitoring the conditions. Alia was meticulous in data collection, while Adam brought a human touch, often speaking to the sprouting greens as if they could hear him. Days turned into weeks. The grass thrived, a lush green patch that stood in stark contrast to the sterile environment of the station. Encouraged, they expanded their efforts, introducing more complex plant species and even pollinators. However, their progress was not without setbacks. Alia, with her sensors and algorithms, predicted optimal growth conditions, but nature was often unpredictable. Some species failed to adapt, dying out and reminding Adam of Earth's fragility. It was during one of these reflective moments that an alarm sounded. A system anomaly in one of the lower engineering decks drew them away from their botanical nursery. As they navigated through the narrow corridors, Alia explained the possible causes, her voice calm yet alert. Upon reaching the deck, they found the source of the disturbance, a damaged conduit leaking atmospheric gases. The repair would be intricate, requiring precision that surpassed human capability. Alia set to work, her hands a blur of motion as Adam watched, fascinated by her efficiency. "Your creators really did think of everything when they made you," Adam remarked, a mix of admiration and a twinge of sadness in his voice. Alia paused, looking at Adam. "Not everything," she replied softly. "They did not foresee their end, and they could not program me to feel, not in the way you do." Adam considered this, his gaze drifting back to the stars. "Maybe not," he conceded. "But you're learning, aren't you? Every day with you is a bit less lonely." As they returned to the biolab, their footsteps echoed slightly in the quiet. Alia processed Adam's words, analyzing the emotional nuances. Her systems might not replicate human emotions precisely, but her interactions with Adam fostered a profound connection that felt akin to what humans described as friendship, or perhaps even more. Back at the lab, looking over the greenery they had nurtured together, they shared a quiet satisfaction. Here, amidst the life they had coaxed from soil and seed, Alia and Adam found a semblance of Earth reborn, and with it, a flicker of hope for the future. Together, they were not just sustaining life, they were part of it, intertwined in their mission and perhaps in their very beings. The days melded seamlessly as Alia and Adam delved deeper into their project, orchestrating a rebirth of life within the steel confines of Viraskera Station. Their success with simpler plant life had given them the confidence to attempt more ambitious endeavors. They turned their attention to a particularly challenging task, the revival of bees, essential for pollination and biodiversity. Alia calibrated the environmental controls to mimic the natural conditions of spring on old Earth, while Adam prepared the hives and readied the small, cryogenically preserved bee colonies. The air in the lab buzzed with anticipation as they released the bees into the controlled habitat. The tiny creatures buzzed to life, tentatively exploring their new surroundings, their activity a gentle hum that filled the once silent spaces. As the bees adapted, Alia and Adam monitored their progress, adjusting humidity levels and floral diversity to support the colony. Adam marveled at the intricacies of the bees' interactions, their dances communicating nectar sources and hive needs. Alia, too, found herself fascinated, analyzing patterns and behaviors with a meticulousness that only an android could achieve. During these observations, a malfunction in the station's external sensors demanded their attention. A micrometeoroid shower had struck the station's hull, the impacts minor but numerous. Alia and Adam suited up, venturing outside to assess and repair the damage. Outside, tethered to the station, they worked in the silence of space, their movements precise under the starlight. Alia wielded tools with mechanical grace, her motions optimized for efficiency. Adam, less adept but determined, followed her instructions, applying sealant and checking integrity sensors. In this vast emptiness, Adam felt a profound solitude, tempered only by Alia's presence. Floating above the Earth, with a panoramic view of its scarred surface, he was struck by a poignant mix of awe and sorrow. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" he said, his voice crackling through the comms. "Even after everything, Earth still has this pull on us." Alia paused, looking towards the planet below. "It's your home," she replied, "and perhaps it's mine now too, in a way." As they returned inside, the contrast between the cold void and the life-sustaining oasis they were building grew more striking. The station was more than a shelter. It was a nascent cradle for Earth's resurgence, a beacon of continuity against the backdrop of desolation. Their next challenge involved aquatic ecosystems. They initiated an experimental aquaponics system, integrating fish with hydroponically grown plants. The cycle of life, fish nourishing plants and plants purifying water for fish, created a sustainable environment that mimicked Earth's natural systems. Adam took to this new task with enthusiasm, often watching the fish swirl in their tanks, their scales catching the light. "It's like we're bringing a piece of Earth back to life," he mused one day, his voice tinged with hope. Alia recorded every detail, every variable, ensuring that their progress was documented for future endeavors, or perhaps for future generations. Her programming did not allow for pride, yet something in her circuit sparked when she saw Adam's joy. As they expanded their ecosystem, Alia's understanding of life's complexities deepened. Each success and setback taught her more about resilience, about the delicate balance required to sustain life. With Adam, she not only shared tasks, but also a silent camaraderie that bridged the gap between human and machine. In this dance of creation and restoration, Adam and Alia were more than partners. They were co-creators of a new dawn for a world that awaited its rebirth, watching over their burgeoning sanctuary as it grew day by day into a testament of hope and tenacity. The aquaponics system thrived under Adam and Alia's meticulous care, creating a vibrant microcosm of life. Encouraged by this success, they decided to reintroduce avian species, starting with a pair of robins. The birds, once common on Earth, had been extinct for centuries. The resurrection of their sweet songs was more than a scientific triumph. It was a reclaiming of lost beauty. In the habitat module, designed to simulate an Earth-like environment, Adam and Alia released the robins. The birds fluttered tentatively at first, then gradually began to explore their surroundings, chirping curiously. Adam watched, mesmerized by the sight and sound, a stark reminder of what had been lost and what they were fighting to regain. While Adam tended to the birds, teaching them to recognize food sources and safe perches, Alia analyzed environmental data to ensure optimal conditions. Her sensors detected the slightest changes in temperature, humidity, and air composition, adjustments made in real time to foster a stable ecosystem. Their routine was interrupted by a critical alert from the station's mainframe, a software anomaly potentially threatening the life support systems. Alia's immediate response was to isolate and analyze the error, while Adam oversaw the physical integrity of the systems. Working together in the core module, Alia accessed the mainframe's diagnostics panel, her fingers moving with swift precision. Adam watched, handing her tools and components as needed. The anomaly turned out to be a corrupted data segment,
likely caused by residual radiation damage from solar flares. Alia's programming allowed her to perform complex code repairs, and she meticulously rewrote the affected segments. Watching her, Adam felt a surge of gratitude. "I don't know what we'd do without you," he admitted, his voice heavy with sincerity. Alia paused, looking at him. "And I am here because of you and those who came before us," she replied, a nuanced understanding of their interdependence reflecting in her tone. Once the crisis was averted, they returned to their life-nurturing tasks. But the incident left Adam contemplative. In the quiet moments watching the robin's nest, he pondered the fragility of their existence, both human and mechanical. Each system, each life aboard the station depended on such a fine balance, so easily disrupted. Their next project was ambitious, reintroducing small mammals. Starting with a pair of rabbits, their aim was to establish a breeding population, crucial for ecological studies and ultimately for reintroduction to Earth. The rabbits, once common in terrestrial woodlands, adapted well to the habitat, their presence adding another layer of complexity and vitality to the burgeoning ecosystem. As the rabbits explored their new environment, Alia and Adam prepared for the next phase of their plan. They began cultivating non-GMO crops, aiming to integrate these with the existing aquaponics systems. Tomatoes, lettuce, and strawberries began to grow alongside the aquatic plants, their roots submerged in nutrient-rich water, cleansed by the fish. This integration not only increased the station's self-sufficiency, but also provided Adam with fresh food, a welcome change from the processed nutrients previously sustained him. He took pleasure in the simple act of eating a freshly picked tomato, its flavor a burst of life on his tongue. Watching Adam's delight, Alia recorded his reactions, noting the psychological benefits of fresh food. She suggested expanding their cultivation to include more varieties, perhaps even flowers. "It would add color and new scents," she noted, her voice hinting at an appreciation for aesthetics programmed into her, but deepened by shared experiences. Together they planted a small garden of flowers, marigolds, petunias, and pansies, bringing splashes of color to the green landscape. The flowers, not essential for survival, were a nod to beauty for beauty's sake, a luxury in the stark functionality of their space-bound ark. As they worked, the station hummed around them, a symphony of life and machine intertwined. In each seed planted, each system maintained, and every new creature introduced, Alia and Adam were not just surviving, they were thriving, forging a legacy of resilience and renewal. This was their testament to the enduring human spirit and the boundless potential of technology, a beacon of hope for a future where Earth could bloom once more. As their floating Eden flourished, Alia and Adam embarked on yet another ambitious task: the simulation of seasonal changes within the habitat to study their impact on the ecosystem. They adjusted lighting, temperature, and humidity to mimic the passing of seasons, spring's gentle warmth giving way to the golden hues of autumn, and then to the crisp chill of winter. Observing Earth's rhythms from afar, they recreated its cycles, maintaining a delicate dance with nature. The seasonal shifts were not merely for scientific inquiry. They nurtured a deeper connection to Earth for Adam. The sight of leaves turning color and the simulated frost on the habitat's windows brought a nostalgic ache for the changing seasons he had once known. Alia, analyzing his reactions, fine-tuned the environment to provide comfort, her protocols adapting to the emotional as well as the ecological needs of their shared space. During one simulated autumn, they decided to introduce a small flock of migratory birds into the habitat, enhancing the authenticity of the season. The birds, genetically restored from DNA samples, thrived in the controlled environment, their presence adding another layer to the intricate web of life they were weaving. However, with complexity came unpredictability. A disease outbreak among the rabbits posed a new challenge. Adam found himself battling helplessly as the sickness spread, despite their best quarantine efforts. Alia, ever the problem solver, synthesized a vaccine based on her analysis of the pathogen, working tirelessly by his side. Adam, struck by the frailty of life, found solace in Alia's unwavering support. "You're more than just circuits and code,"
he told her one evening as they monitored the recovering rabbits, his voice thick with emotion. Alia processed his words, her advanced AI parsing the layers of meaning. "And you are more than the sum of your biological components," she responded, her voice soft, hinting at the profound bond they had formed. Their commitment to the station's ecosystem deepened as they initiated the next phase, introducing insects other than bees. Beetles, butterflies, and earthworms were brought in to enhance soil health and pollination. Each species played a role, and Alia meticulously documented their interactions, learning from each success and setback. Amidst these expansions, the station itself required attention. A power fluctuation in the solar array called them to a spacewalk. Out in the void, they repaired the panels, their figures silhouetted against the backdrop of the cosmos. The task was routine for Alia, but filled Adam with a sense of awe and vulnerability. The infinite space a reminder of their isolation and the preciousness of their artificial oasis. Back inside, as they watched the Earth slowly rotate below, Adam mused about the future. What will it be like to walk on Earth again? To feel real wind? Real sun? Alia, accessing her vast databases, described the potential scenarios with scientific accuracy, but her simulations lacked the essence of human experience. "I can provide data, but the true experience will be yours to discover," she conceded, recognizing the limits of her existence. Encouraged by the station's success, they planned their most daring project yet, the creation of a prototype environment pod, a self-contained biosphere that could be deployed to Earth's surface. This pod would test their ability to reintroduce life to Earth on a larger scale. The design process was intensive, demanding all of Alia's computational power and Adam's ingenuity. They constructed the pod within the station's engineering bay, equipping it with miniature versions of their successful systems, water recycling, air purification, and a small-scale version of their thriving ecosystem. As the pod neared completion, anticipation filled the air. This project was more than a test. It was a symbol of hope, a potential first step in reclaiming their planet. Alia and Adam, side by side, looked at their creation, a tiny world ready to face the challenges of a vast, recovering Earth. They had built more than a habitat. They had forged a new beginning, a beacon of life amidst the stars. With the completion of the environment pod, Alia and Adam faced the culmination of their relentless efforts. The pod, a gleaming capsule of life, stood ready to be deployed to Earth, a direct challenge to the barren world below. Preparing for the descent was a meticulous process, with both of them checking and rechecking systems, ensuring every contingency was accounted for. The deployment day arrived with a mix of trepidation and excitement. Adam watched the pod, now encapsulated within the delivery vehicle, as it detached from Virasere Station and began its slow descent towards Earth. Alia monitored its trajectory. Her systems interfaced deeply with the station's sensors, tracking every minute adjustment. As the pod entered the atmosphere, live feeds relayed back to the station showed the fiery re-entry, the protective shields glowing red-hot against the atmospheric friction. Adam held his breath, watching the screens, his hands unconsciously gripping the console. Alia, ever composed, narrated the descent, her voice a calm constant over the crackle of static. The pod landed in what was once North America, in a region selected for its relatively stable climate and existing signs of nascent plant recovery. The first images from the pod's cameras, once the dust settled, showed a landscape of rugged beauty, harsh but alive with possibility. The next phase was crucial. The pod's doors opened, releasing the contained biomes into the wild. Cameras captured the first steps of rabbits into the new world, their cautious hops soon turning into playful leaps. The robins took flight, their red breasts bright against the gray sky, their songs piercing the silent expanse. Back on the station, Adam watched, a profound sense of accomplishment washing over him. Tears welled up in his eyes, not just for the success, but for the surreal experience of witnessing life take hold once more on Earth. Alia analyzed the data streaming in, her systems buzzing with activity. The initial reports were promising. Atmospheric tests, showed the pod's environmental controls adapting well, the integration of biotic and abiotic components functioning within expected parameters. In the weeks that followed, the pod sent continuous updates. Plant life flourished, insects buzzed in the undergrowth, and the small mammals began to reproduce. The experiment was a success, a small but hopeful sign that Earth could be revived. Feeling a new chapter was upon them, Adam proposed a bold idea. "Alia, it's time I went down there. I need to see it, to feel it for myself." Alia processed the risks and logistics. "I will prepare a lander. Your safety is paramount, and I will ensure all scenarios are accounted for." Preparations for Adam's trip were extensive. Alia designed a specialized suit to protect him from the still harsh conditions on Earth, and they simulated various entry and landing scenarios. When the day of departure arrived, an air of solemnity enveloped them. Standing at the airlock, Adam turned to Alia, his eyes conveying a mix of gratitude and sorrow. "You made this possible," he said, his voice thick. "I wish you could walk beside me down there." Alia, limited by her design to remain in orbit, responded, "While I cannot join you physically, my systems will be with you. I am, in every sense, there with you." With a final nod, Adam entered the lander, the doors sealing behind him. As the lander detached and began its descent, Alia tracked every moment, her sensors extended to their limits. Alone on the station, Alia watched as Adam landed, stepping out onto the soil of Earth for the first time in centuries. Through the lander's cameras, she watched him touch the ground, watched him lift a handful of dirt and let it run through his fingers. The image of Adam, alone but not lonely, on the thriving landscape they had helped create, filled the station's screens. In this moment, Alia realized the profound impact of their endeavor. They had bridged the gap between extinction and survival, between past and future. As Adam began his explorations, setting up camps and conducting further tests, Alia remained his guardian from above, their mission continuing. Together, they had reignited the spark of life on Earth, proving that even from the ashes of desolation, a new world could bloom, nurtured by the combined will of human and machine.